All right, good evening, everybody. We'll go back into open session here. Thank you for your patience as we got things back together. The board has been in closed session considering personnel, legal, and transfers on there. So we're coming back into open session for this meeting. We're going to jump right into things here. First thing in open session is comments from the superintendent, Dr. Cox.
So thank you. And school year is starting, looks like tomorrow. And actually for many people, it is starting tomorrow. So we will welcome back our new teachers and new employees to Ashe County Schools tomorrow. We're very excited about that. But I have quite a few updates to share and some celebrations to share. You've probably seen on some of our social media, one of our teachers this summer at Blue Ridge Elementary School, Amanda Estes, was named the Christmas Spirit Award recipient. And of course, this is by an outside organization, not associated with the school system, but we're really proud of Amanda and how many acts of kindness that she has shared, both through her community service, but also what she does with her students inside the classroom. So congratulations to Amanda. Before we get started on anything else, we have two recognitions in the audience that I really want you all to hear. And first of all, as we've said before, we have fantastic teachers and employees across the district, and we have the opportunity to honor them all the time. But recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've had two of our support people, Earl Pennington and Mandy Lovell, who are recognized for being outstanding in CTE. And I know there are a lot of people that surround their success, whether they be at the high school or middle school or throughout our district. But Mandy Lovell, who is our Curriculum and Instruction Management Coordinator at Ashe County High School and Ashe County Middle School, and that is through CTE, so Career and Technical Education, was named the Northwest Region Curriculum and Instruction Management Coordinator of the Year this year. And so Mandy, that's 14 different districts that I believe that are a part of our Northwest region. And that's a huge honor, especially our Northwest tends to be one of the strongest in the state already for career and technical education. And so we're really proud that her work is being recognized on a regional level, but then on a state level too. And then Earl Pennington has been named for the second time as the director. He's also the Director of Career and Technical Education and Accountability. I think he probably likes CTE a little bit better because you get to do some great things for kids. With CTE, it's a little bit more fun, right? But he has been named for the second time in the past since he's been director as the Northwest Region Career and Technical Education Director of the Year. And I was going to say, these are prestigious recognitions. Anytime when you are named that by your peers, and this is recognized by their peers in the region, that's something very special. And next month, you all are going to get to hear some of the successes of the class of 2026, which are absolutely outstanding. And you'll get to see some of the future year. CTE falls a year behind. So they're on the 24-25 year for a lot of their summative things, but the 25-26 year ended up being far better than even the year before. So we're really excited about what they've been able to contribute to the students of Ashe County and to directly support our teachers and our schools in making some great things happen. And next month, you'll also hear about some of the outstanding partnerships that we continue to have including internship growth. We've more than doubled internships over the last couple of years. And this year, I think we're on slate for maybe 90 internships.
90 interests, yeah.
90 interests and internships. And so we're literally doubling them year after year. And that's thanks to our community. So Mandy and Earl, will you come on up here, please, so we can recognize you. And so there's going to be, they received their award, 2 weeks ago at the CTE conference, and there will be additional recognitions to come. So you'll have to tell us when, but Mandy and Earl, congratulations. We're really proud of you.
Thank you. I think she was back up with her.
Oh, get a picture first. Yeah, picture first. Listen, hold on, wait a second. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations. Thank you for your support. So much.
Well,
Thank you. Very much. Watch the court. Hey, what's that? Was it English teacher?
Watching the cord. Watch the cord.
I got it.
so in other news, Ashe County Middle School was named for this past school year a National Beta School of Merit. And so this is their very first time of participating in the Beta Club, and they ended up in their first year of existing receiving an award, which I think is absolutely outstanding. So thank you, Sherry, and your entire team, because it is a team effort to provide service learning opportunities, and of course to teachers who help them along the way in elementary school to put them in a position to have their grades and the recognition to be able to even join Beta Club at the middle school. So this is a community, character, academics all go into this award, and we're really proud of our middle school because you continue to shine. So congratulations. And so one of the things I get really excited about are student opportunities over the summer. And we had quite a few of them going on. So if you check out our social media pages, we've been highlighting some of the great things that our children have been able to participate in as a result of our summer camps. And so a lot of them are middle school, elementary school, and even high school. Dustin was a gracious host as our middle school was out of commission this summer for some of those camp opportunities. But what a wonderful way for our students to learn. And so everything from Camp Med that they participated in through our community college to things like Pioneering Camp, it was fantastic. I only heard great things from kids. And in fact, I wish that we could do this every day. And so I would love kids to say that about school every day. I wish I could learn like this every day. So kudos to our teachers who made that possible. And Tanya Rollins, who and BJ Lewis, I think, who helped out with some of the summer camps throughout the summer. Kudos to you all for making that happen. Our maintenance crew has been really busy, and not only big projects that you'll hear about at the end of today's meeting, but our maintenance crew has been making it happen all throughout our district. If you check out the signage at Ashe County High School, I got a facelift today, so it's beautiful. So if you haven't seen those pictures yet, make sure you drive by so that you can see it in person. What a difference that has made, as our buildings are aging, the little things can become disrepair. And so we're slowly but surely making sure that happens across our district. We have had a successful summer by lots of ways to measure, but next week, or actually not next week, on Saturday, we have a huge annual event that planning has been going on for the last couple of months. And so our back to school blast is this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. At Government Circle, so right outside of our sheriff's office and county offices. And I want to say a very special thank you. And I can't say this enough, from inception until what it's become today. Amy Walker, everybody say thank you. Please share that with Amy. I know she doesn't want me to toad on her like this, but she truly is, she brings so much to what we do here in Ashe County Schools, but she deeply cares about children, and it shows in this project in so many other ways. Tanya Greer, let me tell you, there's nobody that works harder than Tanya Greer in our central office. She works in our finance office, and she's been spearheading a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes. So if you see Tanya, give her a shout out. There's so many different people, from our volunteers. Gosh, we've had kids here from the Beta Club at the early college to students who are doing community service because of challenges that they've had, who've been helping out to make sure that all kids start off on the right foot for school. Melody Rector with Shoes for Kids. Give Melody a shout out. She was doing this long before our back to school blast, and she'll continue it after. But every child who needs a pair of shoes, anytime they really need a pair of shoes, Melody is there. We have shoe closets in every single one of our schools thanks to Shoes for Kids. So give Melody some love for that. And of course, they'll be there on Saturday as well. Our Sheriff's Department has been a great partner in this adventure. Shane Little, who organizes all of our free haircuts for children on that day. And gosh, they've done over 250 haircuts in one day, which is incredible. And they give up a Saturday of work in order for our children to be able to start off feeling great about themselves when they come to school. Our faith-based partners, our churches, so many different people, community organizations that help out beforehand, and then of course, day of our back to school blast. Thank you. This is our 6th year celebrating going back to school, and what a blessing it is to live in Ashe County. So if you see somebody affiliated with it, many people are in this room, work behind the scenes to make it happen. Kudos to everyone. I think it's a great day. We're praying for sunshine, at least until 1 o'clock, 1:30, 1:30. 1:30 will help us get cleaned up. Our curriculum people, somebody asked me the other day, what do you guys do over the summer? What don't we do? But our district PLCs have been going on over the last couple of weeks, and led by our curriculum team. They have spent a lot of time putting together math resources for K-8 and reading information for K-8. Our high schools have been working on some PLCs as well. But MTSS updates, they've talked about K2 report cards and how to do it in Infinite Campus, how to configure grades in Infinite Campus, different curriculum and instruction updates. You wouldn't be surprised, but there are new policies around curriculum that the General Assembly passed just a couple weeks ago. And so now we're having to make some changes as necessary. And then of course, planning time and collaboration with colleagues. Pacing guides and data reviews and lesson ideas and module planning and lots of different resources for our teachers. I happen to sit in on several of them over the past couple of weeks, and we have great people here in Ashe County. Our teachers are outstanding, and boy, are they ready. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of our smiling faces at the table. And in 2 days, so we have a Dr. Daggett training. So we have quite a few teams of teachers that will be going to learn from his team. And he's sharing everything from the latest in AI to hands-on instruction to, how to teach without the computer and some of the strategies, which is something we certainly want to do. And then Dr. Linda Jordan, and you guys will get this when you come to convocation. It's been online, but I want to show you this sheet of paper. that is an advertisement for how we can help students to thrive. So specifically for parents and our community, our teachers are going to get it during convocation, but on Thursday night, so a week from this Thursday on the, is that the 13th? Okay, so on August 13th, from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Ashe County High School, a neuroscientist hire 3 group leaders, part-time, 20 hours per week, for an on-site coordinator at Blue Ridge Elementary School for our after-school program. So 3 group leaders, one on-site coordinator at Blue Ridge after school. Unless we can shift some staff around, we might be down and not be able to offer the number of hours that we can due to funding for our after-school program. So if you know somebody who wants to work part-time, who would love to work around children, a great place to work. And so we want to be able to offer as many opportunities and start right away when school starts for those after-school opportunities. So as you all know, it's grant funded. Jamie Little writes this grant every single year to continue those funds so that we can have an after-school program. But we need the right people who want to be with children. So if you know somebody, I challenge you to reach out to them. Hey, it's part-time. And then, of course, we will work to see if any teachers want to work after school to earn some, or to fill some of those part-time positions. So that's where we are with before school. One more thing, we always need bus drivers. So if you are wanting to join our team as a bus driver, we have opportunities upcoming starting this week with registration and classes beginning on August 17th, which is the first day of school for bus drivers. And so this is a paid CDL training. There's competitive pay. And in fact, when we were looking at what our bus drivers get paid, it's actually better than most of the places around here. For our bus drivers, but registration is now open. You can check out our Ashe County Schools homepage, or you can call our transportation department if you'd like to join our team. So this could be somebody full-time wanting to do daily routes or just substituting when you have some free time. And of course, we have great kids in Ashe County, and I think our bus drivers are probably the ones who could sell it better than I can because they love what they do, and we're really thankful for them. I think that is all. We have open houses posted online, and if you haven't gotten a new, well, instead of remind, you're going to get a parent square message. So join us at the Back to School Blast if you want to know more about what that is, but you'll get all your messages this year through Parent Square and including open house dates. So we're excited about that. And one more thing. So I put dates and announcements, but we have received through
Next on the agenda, we've got public comments. I don't have anybody on my end for public comment. So we'll keep moving along, and I see Miss Allison Kemp Sullivan back there on the staircase, back there to give us a new middle school update.
Okay, so the rain is good to see, but it has slowed down the progress at, our athletic fields. We have encountered groundwater, which really was no surprise, but, we are looking at a design for a sub drainage, like a French drainage system. And we've given that information to the grading contractor to price. The concrete slab has been completed in area D, where the locker rooms, restrooms, wrestling room are located. Structural steel has been completed for the north entrance bus canopy. Installation of exterior framing and sheathing continues in area B. The roofing work is started with installation of the cover board and vapor barrier. Plumbing contractor continues installation of grease waste system and domestic water piping and roof drainage lines. In area A, the HVAC contractor continues installation of ductwork and air terminal units. We do have a delay in delivery of roof curbs, and this is holding up installation of the rooftop units. Those are expected towards the end of August. Electrical contractor continues working on conduit and rough-in for electrical and telecom, and work has been delayed. We were to be working on the bus connector road between the middle school and the high school, and they have completed rough grading to the stream. They were making good progress until we got to the stream, and we found issues with the precast head wall, and we've been evaluating solutions at that location. There's been multiple issues we found at that location. So the pipe, we can't lengthen the pipe without paying hefty fines with environmental regulations. If you extend pipes or add more pipe, it changes the dynamics of the flow, it impacts aquatic life. So we're looking at solutions there. So the engineering team is working on that. And while we're out there evaluating the stream crossing, the road has to narrow down at the pipe for those reasons. But we were looking at that. Actually, I was out there at the bus garage. Actually, Dr. Cox was there, as it turns out. And so the road from the middle school to the stream starts out at 24 feet, but when it gets to the stream crossing, it narrows down to 18 feet. And when looking at it, they did not widen the road back out from the stream crossing to the high school, which is a problem because buses with their mirrors are 9 feet and 4 inches. So we are working to measured. Yeah, we measured and verified it. So we are getting a proposal to widen that road out from the stream crossing to the high school. It doesn't impact anything except a underground oil waste oil container, which is in the ground. It's a 1,000-gallon tank that we will have to shift back up the hill. That's all it impacts. So all of these things we are working through. I don't have any pricing yet, so I will pass it on when I do. So that is the good, bad, and the ugly. So, anybody have any questions?
When you say hefty fines, how much are we talking?
Well, what I'm talking about is we were very strategic about where we put the school as far as siting it on the property, so we would not impact wetlands or streams. And so we don't want to increase pipe in the stream. For that reason, we have to pay impact fees.
Right.
And so we don't want to add pipe or impact wetlands because you have to pay impact fees, which we've already paid. So if we increase the length of that pipe, we have to basically sign a check to the Department of Water Quality.
How,
It's a lot.
okay, that's what I was wondering. It sounds like,
So we want to avoid that. So, but we still have, pipe sits higher than the stream. It's just, because of time erosion, it sits 3 feet above the stream. If you're out there, look at it, it sits on a rock. And it's over time, it's eroded the stream channel. So it would require work in the stream to fix that. So we've got to deal with that. If we have to, we can shift the pipe down, and that's what we're looking at. We can add some elevation, but when you elevate the pipe, it causes more erosion. So those are all things we're having to work through. And we also have to deal with the cable. We're dealing with it. We'll figure it out. But in any event, it's just one of those things that happens. But we just can't throw more pipe in the ground and call it a day. I'm trying to explain.
And so until that road's done, or at least we know what we're doing with the road, there are other things that are impacted as well, so.
Yeah, so the
like
utilities go through the road. The water line to the building also wraps back around, so you have a redundancy in the water supply to the building. That'll be going in. The gas line also goes through there, so to serve the building. Or the gas service goes to Early College and Wilkes Community College. So provides heat to the building, so that all goes through there too. We gotta get the road in so we can get the utilities in. And we're working on it.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and jump into action items for the board. First, under action is we have our consent agenda, which includes the renewal of the Learning Through Play lease, school calendar weather waiver for 27-28, App Health School Nurse Funding Innovative MOU, Jody Providence MOU, Ashe County Schools Ask Center with Appalachian State contract for 26-27, the minutes for the past meetings of the board, special called meetings, and the last thing under consent agenda is the NCDEE and NCDHHS pre-K contract. I figured I'd get those letters backwards, but I didn't on there. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Calhoun. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Next, we've got the personnel as amended there. Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended personnel agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve personnel.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun. Any questions or comments there? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Can I say something now that
You can. Now we've approved.
I want to welcome Tanya Rollins to our administrative team as the new assistant principal that will be serving at Blue Ridge Elementary School and part-time with Lindsay as she joins our team as not just a teacher and not just an administrator, but as a true valued member. We love you, Tanya. So welcome to the call.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. We're just going to keep trucking. So we got number 4 is the transfer request as discussed in closed session. Do I have?
The social
Miss
media
Lund?
litigation.
Oh, sorry. The other thing we discussed in closed session was social media litigation. So do I have a motion to approve that?
I move that the Ashe County School join the social media litigation in which Sherrington and Smith are the legal counsel in North Carolina.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ward. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second.
Thank you. I got 2. Thank you, Ms. Elders and Ms. Jones. Any other questions or comments for that? All in favor, raise your hand. All right. Motion carries. Now we'll go to the transfer request as discussed in closed session. Do I have a motion to approve those transfers?
Make a motion that we approve the transfer request.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ward. Questions or comments concerning those? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right. Next, we'll get back here to approval of the resolution for the amended 403B plan. So, I was hoping you were going to tell us what that was.
Evening board, I'm seeking your approval on the resolution for our 403B plan that we house for our employees to have Omni TSA be that third party administrator.
Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Elders. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Any other comments or questions?
How many years have we done that for?
Forever. The last resolution was from 2003, I believe. We've always had hoped to have a 4 and 3B for our employees, but it's switched over the years. But with IRS language now, we're having to get resolutions for it.
And I understand the employees can put up to a bunch of money in that.
Correct. It's all determined by the IRS how much they can put into that account each year.
Not that they have any left over to put into that account.
Yeah.
Would be nice, but.
Yeah. It's in.
Any other questions there?
Yeah, we're having issues just.
That's, I'm noticing that a little bit.
That's going on and
I'm
on.
lagging a little
Get
bit.
back.
Hearing no other questions for her, all those in favor, raise your hand. All right, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Now, let's see. Approval of substitute teacher pay. I think I'm in the right place. No?
Budget work.
Budget work, okay. Mine's,
Here you
I've got the death scroll going on over here, sorry. Okay, yeah.
Scheduled already a policy meeting on the 17th, which is the first day of school. And that was to begin at 3 o'clock and until 6 o'clock, and that's typically when we do it. And I will send you those policies first thing in the morning, because we did receive them. There were 11 new policies that she had to add based on legislation that had just changed over the summer. That's why we didn't have them yet. And then we're into the 5,000 series. And there are quite a few that we don't have that the board really needs to consider. But the primary are those 11 policies that have a timestamp to change. And so it'll take us, it'll throw us off a little bit on the timeline that I had given to you back in the spring. But we had some time built in to finish those policies. So we will start with those 11 and then get as many of those 5,000s as we can, and then we'll carry the rest over to September. In addition, though, however, because the budget has come with quite a few changes, we really need to do a budget work session. And I didn't know whether you wanted to do it on that same day, since the board is already meeting, and just meet earlier in the day. I'll tell you, I don't want to start it before 9 or 9:30.
How long would it take?
Well, probably 3 hours is my guess. And I'm sorry,
That's 3 hours plus 2 hours on top.
plus
That's
3
fine.
hours, no,
Oh.
6 hours.
6 hours, 3 to
Can we do
6
it a different day?
usually.
This is up to you. This is up to you all, if we really need to do it sooner than later. But the policy meeting, in the policy meeting, we have policies that have to be addressed. And then in addition to that, we have budget items that need to be considered by the boards. And so either we do it all in one day, which happens to be the first day of school. So the reason why I don't really want to start until about 9:30, because I really want to make it into a couple of schools beforehand. And we have teams that, I mean, we usually spend our entire days in schools that first week. But I don't see any other way around it and really meet that timeline. School happens after that.
Okay, I'm sitting here doing the math. Could we
Yeah.
not meet around 12 o'clock and get it done?
We could probably meet at 12 o'clock and get it done.
Have a working lunch.
We will feed you, yes. You just tell
They
me
have
what
to have
that's for,
stuff,
and
too.
we'll feed you.
Yeah, we might be so.
Wouldn't you like to have 2 days?
I say knock
And-
it out.
and-
I say knock it
Unfortunately,
out.
I hated to
My
even
days-
put this on here, but it just because of timing, but at the same time, it's needed.
I would like to just knock it out because there's a lot of activities going on besides this, plus it involves some other people here. So I would really like to just
And if we
grit my
start,
teeth and get it done.
yeah, and if we start at noon, you have longer to spend visiting schools in the morning.
Is noon good with everybody?
It's good for me.
All right. So it looks like we'll be here half a day or more. Okay,
We can cut it, as long as we get through those 11 policies, And what we need to
We'll
do
make
is
sure I'll
finance,
come back
we can
and sit
push
with it.
5,000 a little bit later if we have to.
But you will send
They'll be
this
busy
to
at school.
tonight or
It'll
tomorrow,
be tomorrow.
so that I
Oh,
can
yeah, school's more
get started on it.
Yes, yes. I will send you everything that I have. They're in 2 zip files sending my email right now.
Just so y'all know, we have homework too, just so you know that.
All right, so we've got us for the 17th, starting at noon for that
Thank you.
budget work session and policy.
I didn't ask that, but
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm purposely skipping it. So now I'll get us back on track for the approval of substitute teacher pay change. So, like,
Yes, we're just bringing this increase in substitute teacher pay to align with the North Carolina Public School Employee Manual. And this will base it off of a 3-tier pay plan based on certified teachers, non-certified teachers, et cetera.
Have they given us any more money for that?
No,
No.
most substitutes come out of local money.
Okay, what kind of percentage increase, if any, is this going to be giving substitutes?
So our regular substitutes, well, all substitutes last school year were 115 a day. And so it's going to increase up to 142 per day for certified staff, certified substitutes.
This way, when our teachers who come back to substitute, they actually get paid for their experience, which
And gives the others
We would
we would
incentive.
love to do.
Correct.
do I have a motion to approve pay change?
I make a motion, we approve the pay change for the substitute teachers.
All right, thank you, Ms. Elders. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Any other questions or comments for that?
No, it's exciting to see that we have done that because it's not an easy thing to be a substitute teacher. It's for
We value all of our substitutes, and we want to encourage our teachers who have retired and have been out 6 months to come back to help us out and be with kids, and that they love doing that. In fact, we have some approved on the personnel agenda to come back.
All those in favor then? Everybody, all right,
Thank you.
motion carries. Thank you. Got the Ashe Early College High School book fee procedure.
So hopefully everybody had a chance to read my proposal. Basically what we're looking at is just an instructional materials / recovery procedure. So currently Ashe County Schools is covering all of the required instructional materials for Ashe Early College students in their Wilkes Community College classes. And this is simply to give kids a little bit more skin in the game. This is not a gotcha. It's written so that if a student tries everything, they go to class, they turn their work in on time, they talk to their instructor if they need assistance. They go to the tutoring center, they do all of the things and they're still not successful, or there's some sort of, they're in the hospital for a week. If there's an extenuating circumstance that would have truly affected their academic ability or performance in a course, then there is a stipulation here that they can reach out and we can sit down and meet and they would not be charged that. We have a really good success rate at Ashe Early College. We're above 80%, but that means that there's about 17% of courses that are consisting of D's, F's, and W's. And if you crunch the numbers on that, we're not just paying that once because the students have to then retake that course. And the 85 comes from, we're transitioning, Wilkes Community College is transitioning to BOE, which is an online textbook company resource. So courses may have that attached, they may not have that attached, they may have a code attached to it. It might be open source. It's kind of all over the place right now. I think the plan is to try to streamline and get as efficient with BOE as possible, but it's $85 a pop for a course. So that's where that number
And
comes
that's
from.
for every course
Yeah.
that a child takes at Beverly College.
Yeah.
Through the community college.
through the community.
Yes, ma'am.
I like the way you wrote it, that there's consequences if you don't do your best, but there's extenuating circumstance.
Yeah. Because we
possibilities.
do, I'm not gonna, we do, every semester, we have students And it's a much smaller percentage than 17%. I would say probably half that do all of the things. And they still make a D, or it comes down to it and they need to withdraw from a course because it's the best decision for that student. We know all of our students and what they're capable of. They've indicated they can do well in college classes, and some of them sadly choose not to. And that we're doing weekly emails to parents every week. Parents get an email with their grades in high school and college classes. They meet with our college liaison twice a year for scheduling purposes, but then every semester we go 5 grade checks. We went to 5 grade checks on the Wilkes community side, which means those 5 times, which is almost monthly, Wilkes Community College instructors are required to have their grades updated so that students can have a realistic picture of how they're doing in their course. And after each of those meetings, if a student is making below a C, then our college liaison or part of our admin team, if she's, knee deep in advising, we meet with those students. We talk about all the support options. She sits down and has them figure out how to compose an email to their instructor, go to their office hours, go to the academic support center, which has amazing tutors. The tutors love our kids. They love working with them. So it's not for a lack of trying, but if you start multiplying 85 times that, 17%, I believe last year, and I don't think it'll be this many because I think people will realize, and I think it's gonna catch kids a little earlier in their career too, because they are capable. And for whatever reason, they're not showing it. And I think $85, now, you go to Appalachian and take a 3-hour credit course, you're gonna pay $1,000 before you even buy resources. Wilkes, it's probably closer to right under 300 plus materials.
And you're gonna buy
To
$300 for a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I mean, we're still not, and again, I want this to be looked at. It is a recovery procedure for students who choose to not do the things that we all need to do to be successful in any class. Kindergarten through 12th through graduate through doctorate, right? Ashe County Schools is paying for that money, and I think we need to be more fiscally responsible and for parents and families and students to know that that money is then, if you withdraw from a course and then you take it again, say you're not successful and you take it again, and then you withdraw or you have to take it. I mean, there's kids that have had to take classes 3 times. So 85, 85, 85, maybe not if there's not a fee attached the one time, but the next time there might be. So it's a significant amount of money. And I think that it might not save us much, but it might make kids be more successful. And if you look at their high school I think it will save us, but even a little bit helps. But also, I mean, if you look at their high school transcript, we went away, I think it was Dr. Cox's first year. Other counties, I think Wilkes does, if they withdraw from a community college course on their high school transcript, they have an F. And it tanks their GPA. And so we had a lot of conversations about that here in Ashe, and we're not doing that. So, it does show on their Wilkes Community College transcript, it shows if they've withdrawn from a course. But it, as far as their
We didn't
high
want a double
school,
whammy.
right, yeah. So, yeah, so what more questions?
So how much does it cost now without the BOE, how much does it cost for a course?
So it ranges, it depends on what fees are attached to that course. So it could be 0 if they're just using a free online resource. So some courses don't have textbooks. Some courses have the $85 BOE. And then some courses, like we've looked at each kid individually and had to decide like which ones to opt out of BOE. Because if you opt them out of one course, they're opted out for all courses for that semester. So say you're a student that's taking a 4-course certificate in like business administration, it's actually more cost effective for us to opt them out of BOE and purchase a year-long digital access code through another company.
The
And we
shared.
save about 25 bucks a kid that way. So, I mean, we've drilled it down to each individual kid. But that being said, Ms. Eldred, if I take a course that doesn't cost Ashe County Schools anything, and I withdraw from that, or I make it, and I say a D, I know a D is passing, but you do not get credit towards your associate's degree. So really if they're wanting credit towards their associate's degree, they do have to retake that. So that's where the D came in. But all of that being said, just because it didn't cost that time, the next time you take it, there may be a fee attached to
And it may be a different book.
it. Yeah,
So it's only if they incur those costs during that,
no,
you're gonna charge them
Yes.
regardless?
yes. And but if you have a valid reason, there's no cost. If you and your parent comes in and sits down and says, you know, we did everything. We turned well, hopefully the student led, it should be, we know them all good enough. They should be able to come in there and say, I've turned everything in, I've talked to my instructor, and there are kids like that. And the instructor would tell you, I mean, I feel very confident that a Wilkes Community College instructor would let our liaison know if, you know, unfortunately, yes, they made a D, they're not gonna get the transfer credit. But they worked their tail off and they did everything they possibly could to earn that. This is not for those students. This is not for those students. This is for ones that habitually don't show up to class, don't turn work. We've all had the students in class, right? And they don't have any skin in the game. And you know, I could give you samples of students and look at their transcripts, and it's multiple classes in one semester sometimes. And I really think that if it was caught early, like 9th, 10th grade, and they accrued that fee one time, and their parents said, you know, you chose to not do what you're supposed to in this class, you're gonna pay that $85. It's gonna make a difference for kids. It's gonna make a difference for families.
What would be the maximum amount a student might? You know, usually when they're not doing well in one course, they may not do well in others. So what's the maximum that a student might have to pay?
Well, it depends on how many courses they're not successful in. We don't know that until we get into it.
So if they're not
again-
good at 2 or 3 courses, would they have to pay the 85 for each one?
Absolutely. But you have to get down to the reason why, right? That's what it all comes down to. This is not a gotcha. This is not, you know, I'm doing everything I can to do well, and I come out of it, I have to drop a class because I was sick for 2 weeks, or, you know, I just couldn't write that paper. You know, I'm gonna have to take English 111 again because I made a D. We have kids that happens. They have to take a course a couple times. This is not for that kid. This is for a very small group of students that we need to light a fire under the butts because they're capable. They truly are capable. They are really capable, and they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
But it's only for Wilkes Community.
Yeah.
Early college, high school.
So, we pay how much a year? How much did we pay last year?
It
Probably
was just shy of 30
$35.
grand.
30 grand?
In books,
Yeah.
for the Ashe County Early College High School Wilkes courses. So just to keep this in perspective, we're paying for the majority. And the books are extremely expensive, and this is not covered in anywhere but local. This is not, paid for by the state. We don't get enough instructional funds. It's not covered under in fact, the principal and the early college liaison are pretty much all we get out of the funds from the state. Nothing else is paid for through the state grant. So this is helping us to make sure that students have great opportunities, but puts a little skin in the game because this is above and beyond. And the high school's books are completely free through Wilkes Community College.
And Ashe and Wilkes counties, yeah.
And
They have what's the name of the foundation?
It's the WCC Foundation that covers.
Yeah.
So none of the high school students that are going up there have to pay any
Correct.
kinds of fees.
They have none associated with it because they're free anyway.
And we
But they
have,
can
we
get an
have
associate.
asked,
Right?
yeah, Yeah, but you're not gonna have as many. So I mean, I
Last year
get
we had
that. I mean,
zero, the year before.
you
we had
know, the
two.
amount of classes is pretty different. And that is something we have talked about that. I keep looking back here at Becca Gardner, she's director of student access at Wilkes, and we work with her, but we have brought that up several times. And I do know, I talked to Kristen Macemore, who's the VP of curriculum for Wilkes, and they did bring it up with the foundation at their last go round, and it's not something that they're able to do at this time. But she said they'll continue to bring it up as far as maybe not, and I said, even if it's not covering all of it, just a percentage of it or something, because it's a lot of money. Which again, I think everybody in here agree with saying we're fine with paying that as long as kids are doing their best.
100%.
This is not for those kids. This is
For the kids that can do it.
yeah, and they've indicated they can. And there's when they choose to, you know, not is when they just, it's gonna hurt to have to pay $85.
Yeah.
And we're very strategic. I mean, if they're not successful in multiple courses, there is things like academic probation and suspension, or if we see that happening, we might take a break from college classes for a semester, or be very particular with what we put them in so that we set them up for success. So, I mean, we're not gonna take a student that made 2 Ds or withdrew from 3 classes last fall or last spring and then turn around this fall and give them 5 college classes, right? Like, we're very conscious of that. So, you know, again, I calculated out, DFW's time is 85 would have been for this past school year was, $11,815. It's about a third. Now, again, I don't think it'll be that much because people aren't gonna wanna pay that. And if somebody does have to pay that, the word's gonna get out pretty quick. And I may have some angry parents and some angry families. But everybody's aware, they're getting a weekly email, and if they don't get an email, we call. So they're aware of what their students are making, and now they'll be able to support at home and say, listen, you know, you have this great opportunity to take college classes for free. And we know you're capable of it. You're just gonna have to work at it a little bit harder. And there's 5 opportunities throughout the semester that Wilkes is giving you an updated grade, which is crazy because I'm in a class at Appalachian right now and I've turned 100% of my work in and have not got a single grade. So the fact that we have 5 grade checks, they've come a long way. We meet after every grade check. I know last year we put that in place. So myself, college liaison, VP of instruction, Becca, I mean, there's a team of about 5 to 7 of us that meet after each of those grade checks and we talk about kids. If there's a big chunk of kids and within one course, what do we do for that chunk of kids? Is it something with the course? Can we offer like a tutoring group with the academic support center? So all those things are happening. There's really no reason to not be successful.
So everything you just told us now, will you simplify it and give it out to parents at the beginning of the school
Oh,
year?
yeah,
Like open
yeah,
up?
we'll have
That's
a,
the document, right?
So that, but they will receive it.
it'll be in the student handbook, but then I always do like what's new in the student handbook. So like last year it was yonder pouches. So, you know, we'll make sure that's front and center. I haven't put any of that together
As long as you put it out
because I
there.
wanted to
Yeah.
be here first, but by Saturday, when we're at back to school blast, when people are paying fees and coming and getting their Chromebooks and all of the things, that's the opportunity to start saying, this year's different. We're starting this. You've got to start off strong and you got to keep going, because you don't want to accrue that class.
What is the withdrawal rate, or can you think of about how many kids withdraw? Because
With just withdrawals.
it may have changed since I was in school. If someone withdrew a
Last year, we
college
were about
class,
10% for my population.
you know.
And that's really, I mean, really about, we fluctuated from about, the first year there was 4 grade levels there. It was right at 7. So we fluctuated between 7 and 9.9 over the past handful of years.
Just to be clear on the withdrawal, that is after the withdrawal period.
Yeah, that's after the dropout. So there's
Okay.
usually a couple days right there at the beginning of the semester where you
Right.
can, drop a class, add a class, and there's no penalty.
Yeah.
The withdrawal is you've already started the course, you've paid for the, all of the fees, you've filled out your, forms at the beginning and you've been counted in. Yeah.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the supporting document for this.
Okay.
I think it's an excellent idea.
I second it.
Right, so I've got a motion from Ms. Ward, a second from Ms. Calhoun. Any questions, more questions, comments for Ms. Williams?
What do we need to do to get it the same thing as the high school? I mean, it's crazy that we're asking our second high school to pay monies that our other ones do not have to pay for these materials. Is there anything we can do?
I'm
on
not
this
sure.
front?
Really, it's finding funding sources, and whether that's through Wilkes or an outside source, it's not for lack of trying. I know I've talked to Julie a little bit about it. I've talked to Jamie a little bit. We've kind of looked, it's a hard thing. I don't know, we just are struggling to find that money for it, but.
Well, and this is also a Wilkes decision to pay for the high schools, and we're thankful that they paid for the high
Yes,
school books. And then managed to take a substantial number of courses at the high school, at the community college. So in no way are we condemning that.
Yeah, that's
effort,
amazing.
Because I think that's amazing. Unfortunately, this is the one that hasn't been able to get that same benefit from Wilkes Community College.
And it's the same as the Wilkes Early College.
Right, yes.
They've got the same scenario.
Same.
The college at both locations are the ones that.
Yeah, they're in the same boat.
that
And
are
for the community
different.
college, they serve 3 counties, Ash, Allegheny, and Wilkes. Allegheny does not have early college high school. So for them to be able, that's probably some of the politics in that, unfortunately, too, is that they have 3 high schools, 3 counties that have high schools. They're supporting all of that through their foundation, which is different from the board.
I'm super
that.
happy.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this gives more teeth to this for you to try harder
Yeah.
to get it done, because if you're not, there's consequences.
Yeah.
And they signed up for it. That was,
know
they
going
made the decision to do
Thing
this.
too is, and I know, Diane, I know you're like, oh, money, 85,
No,
but
no.
trust me, we know the kids that are doing what they should be, and the ones that, again, if we light a little fire under them, will probably do much better because of it.
I started to say that this is a good life lesson too, because these kids transfer somewhere else, you're gonna be
More
spending
than-
a whole lot more money
Right.
on a not successful experience if you fail something or withdraw inappropriately or that kind of thing. It's a lot more bite to it than $85.
Exactly, and I do think if we make sure we get it out to families, they're gonna understand. I mean, they know that money doesn't grow on trees, and they know that this is a great opportunity for their student. And they know that their child's capable. And so I think, again, as long as we're all on the same page and pushing the kid, to do what they're supposed to do, at the end of the day, they're not going to get charged that money. Even if they're not successful, because there's going to be a valid reason for it. But when they're just slacking.
Pay for it. I could be
And
finding a way to pay
a lot
for
of
it.
parents will do exactly what you did and say, okay, I would do that with my kids. If they came home and had a D, or they came home and said, I want to withdraw from a class because I'm gonna make a B.
We've had,
No, stay in it, figure it out, be successful. And if you can say at the end of the day that you did all of those things, most of us are parents, we always told our kids that we want them to do their very best. Whether that's an A or you have to withdraw from a course, as long as you did your best, everybody's behind you. So it's not for those kids.
Any other questions?
I would like to make a comment. I'd like to see how this works this year
Sure.
before we do anything again, because I think it will be very successful, but I would like to hear back from you about how this is
You
working
know, I'll have the
after the
spreadsheet.
first semester. I love your spreadsheets.
She makes a good spreadsheet. I will say that you'll notice the next item after this are fees. And so with the policy changes, we'll be bringing fees, even if they haven't changed, to you every year. So that'll be an opportunity to reopen that discussion if necessary.
No, any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I
Nope.
really think you're giving them a great opportunity and going overboard to help college students. You should be more aware of what you're doing when you're in college. You should not have to be pushed, even though I had some students that will, so I had to call the parents.
I did too.
Well, they're getting better, and I will say, we, you know, Tanya and I had met a few weeks back, and we were just talking about, we really are seeing a difference in students just over the past couple of years. They're coming, having had more rigor, and I'm not in all of the conversations, but I know they're doing a lot of good things, like with wit and wisdom and things. I mean, Tanya was sharing that she was teaching MLA formatting to her 7th graders. So, you know, they're coming to us with such a richer foundation and that rigor now, and you can, just the last 2 grade levels, I can tell, or the last 2 classes that have came in, you can tell a big difference, so. Yeah, it's showing. Good job.
All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, you're good to go. Let's just keep up the fee category. So fee 2627. Who present on that? Is that
So,
you?
I put it together. So these are the fees that the schools, charge. I'd included the policy, specifically said things like yearbook, which of course are optional fees, but you can see it's pretty consistent by the grade level. And of course, yearbook elementary, you know, things go up for that. Yonder replacement fees, which is a fee, but you know, it doesn't happen unless they've lost it or damaged it. And of course, we put that in within the policy. You can see what it costs for cap and gown. That's consistent, and that is the negotiated price through Perf Jones. Anyway, parking stickers, the only thing that varies, the high school is 1, the early college, it's a sticker because it's not our lot. It is the community college's parking area, and so they don't charge for it, but they do have a sticker that's required. Thankfully, that the high school has 2 different things, whether they're gonna paint their space, which a lot of kids do, to personalize it or not. And then, of course, we put on their, if they're using our online system, there is a 40% transaction fee that we don't get, but it goes directly into that online platform. And then I included some of the fees that the early college students pay specifically for community college, but that's not our fee. That is the community college fee. So they pay per credit hour, or, you know, for the number of credit hours they take each semester. And so most of these have been consistent for years.
I started to ask, I can't remember what we did last year.
Consistent for years, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think there were any changes last year except for the Yonder pouch, and we had brought you all, you know, the Yonder pouch information. So it's been a while.
So do we make a motion for this? I make a motion that we accept these fees for 26 and 27.
Ms. Calhoun has a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ward. Any other questions, comments concerning that?
I'm glad to see there's a waiver procedure for that. That's been included. That's good news.
Any other questions? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Next, we'll get into some updates, discussion items for the board. I think I got them all. Is that everything?
I think so.
Okay, all right. All right. First, we've got the facilities and maintenance update. Mr. Jody.
So as Jody's coming up there, you'll see that we put a little addition and piece of information. that came today. And, this is an update to an ongoing FEMA process that sometimes feels like it'll never end. We're gonna have to do a full bid process, and Jody can share how that came about today.
Yes, so I'll dig into the, conversation around the building that bus garage, that we demoed. And then the plan was started to move it to between the bleachers and the current field house
At the middle school.
at the middle school. So, with that project growing, there are a number of ways projects have been formulated, FEMA rules around what's allowed for funding, how we're trying to strategize funding for the building, which encompasses electrical, and a slab, access that was added on when the bids came in, pushed the dollar amount above our threshold to just do quotes, pushed it to the bidding process. Being in the location where it's at has a lot of moving pieces. So just keeping you aware that this has not become just a easy stick a building in their project. I've shared with you as a work here board, I'm eager to get projects done. I'll keep driving for it. I think Dr. Cox is in now. I'll poke on her while she's not here too, but I'm eager to complete a project and that's what I'll commit to. But it will be, this will not be kind of expensive. But our hopes and plans are currently, like, and I met today, all of remaining funding we're going to request from the state for DPI again to make that project whole from FEMA. So that will be the plan.
So let me just give you a rundown of that. It's pushing to be almost a $500,000 project. And that's including road access to put that building, to move it to that lower location. Because the instability of the ground at the top, it was removed and we're not allowed to build there. So it's down at the new location, which will be great whenever, for the fields. And it's, considered a bus garage. It did not have a slab that it was on, but to be of code, we need to put a slab and electricity, and it has to be brought to code. All of those things increase the price, but FEMA will only give us $103,000 and some odd change that they said that it was worth at the time. So in order to build it, we have to put more toward it. And then because the location is different, it needs access. And so you have to build a road for access. But I think as you may recall, for the tennis courts and pickleball courts that are going down there too, we learned that we needed upgrade that road for access back there, because in order to build it, we have to get heavy equipment back there. So we think that by combining, by building the road as a separate project and then building the building to code as is required to actually put up that structure. And then, of course, the tennis court pickleball, which has already been approved, so to speak, without the road. In total, the road and the building will be upwards of $455,000 and some odd change. But because it's well over $250,000, we have to go through the formal bidding process. And we've got pretty good dollars, but FEMA is not going to make up that difference. And so we can combine. We've already gotten some money from the state, but we can request more through dedicated hurricane relief funds through NCDPI that are still available. So, but we have to go through the bid process in order to know how much it's going to cost. And Jody and Lakin talked to both FEMA today. We met a couple of times about this, and then we'll be able to request through DPI that extended amount. If approved, we'd like to just go ahead and pursue it. We have to go through the bid process, which we'll bring to the board because of the amount of dollars. If it's not approved, then when we find that out, which likely be around the 2-week mark, we'll probably be bringing back to you whether we want to drop the project of the building and give back the $103,000? Or do we want to take the remainder of the funds to the commissioners? Because that's where it would have to come from. So anyway, just something to chew on. We just have to think about that. I'm really hopeful, and I think we have a good case to get the funds through the DPIs for Kimberly funds. So anyway, but that's where we are.
You know, any more questions about that?
It's a lot.
Just bring us more later.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be more.
So staying on the same campus, we have a slope stabilization project, which we have gotten quotes. This is where the building was sitting. It's going to need some engineer, well, we've already done engineering. We're gonna have to put it out to bid to get the, quotes to repair that building and provide a slope there and rock it and then put a rock cage at the bottom. So that will be one of the processes we're moving forward. We got the quotes originally back from our local vendor, and then we'll need to share them with FEMA. We've not had an update FEMA meeting since the last time we got the quotes. So that's kind of step place we're in there.
And just so you know, FEMA was shut down for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Which slowed our processes down for this.
Middle school roof, we're all talking about middle school today. So I feel good about where we're at with that. We finished the tear off, which was really a good milestone. We finished that last Friday. The weather, like Elson said, weather has not been our friend a number of days. They have started putting on roof. We've covered the gym. If you're on the back side coming down the back road, if you kind of turn back to your left, they're about 6 windows deep on that side, all the way down on one side. And they've covered the band space that end as well. Now, that doesn't include like the gutters and the flashing around the outside, but they've got majority of the roof installed, the padding and that piece, and then the piece that's laying over top of it installed. So that's a really good progress piece for where they're at. And that's really good to see as we come into the school year and plan for staging bus routes and parking and all that stuff, which I think, if I look out weather-wise, we're not looking good with weather, but we are in a good spot today. So if we get some okay days, we'll still be in a good spot moving forward into what school looks like. We're waiting on some important information that we got yesterday to move forward with the environmental testing that we did yesterday. We've not got those results yet, but those will help provide next steps for what decisions that we make as a school system going forward.
So that's the asbestos that was in the roof. And so we've had it tested extensively, and we'll find out hopefully by tomorrow, I hope tomorrow, so that we can bring it to you all if we have to. We don't know. We hope it's good.
Yeah.
And Ms. Hines and Jody have been working on new routes to communicate to the students and to the families about pickup and drop off, and some different ways that we're gonna have to get in and out because of the construction. But we're waiting until after we get these other results to make sure we are communicating everything at once versus communicating a bunch of different times and confusing people.
Yeah. Moving over to the high school, we've been working through this summer. JCI has done a good amount of work on pulling in new thermostats and wire to the boiler room project that you guys approved back 3 or 4 months ago now, where they'll come in and install pipe, and we're gonna use the current motors we have in there, but they'll reinstall pipe, which should keep the leaking and any down issues we've been predicting could happen in that space. So that's very good. It should have little to no impact on the space at the high school, which we're looking forward to getting that done. Well, not pause on this project, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask as we move forward. With the Blue Ridge Elementary School playground, I think weather's kind of kicked us around a lot there. we're very close to finishing up on what we were working on as far as our maintenance team. Mitchell ordered, another, load of mulch, and that's kind of what their custodial team was working on, spreading it out, so we could just kind of finish wrapping in the rest of the, barrier. But other than that, that project is right at the closing door of what our group would be doing on it. Obviously, we support smaller things, but as far as the bigger scope of that project is coming to a close. And if you've not driven by there, it's turned out really nice. We actually had a tree vendor out there, Sunday too, and they trimmed back the trees, which are really nice, so they won't be hitting the buses, and we've trimmed trees there and at, Mountain View, which was really needed too. So, we made some good steps in that. I didn't make that on the summer highlights, but I would throw a couple of these things in there. We've installed 4 of the 6 partition systems ever at Westwood with Scott's bathroom pieces, which has come along. You would be kind of surprised how much time it takes to diligently put those things in and how many hands it takes to just install a bathroom partition. But I think Scott and his team's pretty happy with the outcomes. I would say go look at those, but it's really kind of hard to show off bathroom partition. Some of the things that we like to kind of brag about that, when we can, but we can't really brag about those so much. We've done 4 rooms in the media center at Westwood. We've changed out LED lights there. So again, while we try to make savings where we can, we hope to see that. I'll tag in that I've noticed about on average a $2,200 a month savings from since we changed LED over at the high school and continue to monitor that. So that's going to be good for our budgets.
And that's great because when you're pushing $50,000-$60,000 for light bills, it's a lot of money savings.
Yeah, and the new lights, I think Dustin and the teachers have probably come more accustomed to.
Monthly bills.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
And I think the teachers have really come accustomed to the lighting in there, and I think it brightens up the hallways since we painted. And I'll speak just toward the high school. If you see Brandon, he mainly took a lot of the work on. You see that sign that Dr. Cox spoke about, giving him a pat on the back. Dean helped him paint today. You never know exactly how one of those projects is going to turn out, but it looks really good, and I think it ties the high school really nicely. I think that was a nice little milestone that our team did. I would have highlighted it here, but again, the weather, you never promise how long you're gonna get outside. At Mountain View, Blue Ridge, we've installed a number of camera pools for more safety around the district. Looking to have those go up soon. We pulled all the camera for those. Again, I spoke about the tree trimming at Blue Ridge and Mountain View earlier, and we have pretty much closed out the majority, I'd say 90 to 95% of the wastewater system project that you guys graciously approved. I think it won't save us money, but it will not cost us more money to deal with waste coming out of that system. So they've refurbished the top and coated the inside. Again, it's like the petitions, you don't really share pictures of this kind of thing. But again, the work was done with a local vendor. We're real happy with the outcome. We have new pipe, new media bed, which again, does better filtration for our space as it shoots it up the hill. And we're really closing out the door. Mitchell's not here, but it is back up and going, which we need good, waste filtration at a space like that because we don't have anything tied into the town. It's been a busy summer. I still feel like we have a number of projects where weather or things have come up or we're halfway closed with things. But I'm proud of the team and what they've done this summer, and I appreciate the support of the principals and all their patients and the fellow coworkers as we drive into the school year. Because you probably see it on my face as none of these projects are got me thinking about stuff, but I know that we'll make it through. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I'm really happy with what we've done.
Thank you for all the work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's our team. It's all in, not me.
I just looked at all the things you've done, and I saw how busy you've been this summer. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I didn't even throw in,
There are a lot of little things that are not on
yeah,
there.
I mean, we've
And
done,
big projects.
yeah, we've done great preventive maintenance on our window units this summer too, where some of these window AC units haven't been touched in years. And we clean those. We hope that helps because the window units are $600 a piece sometimes. And when you talk about, Blue Ridge and Mountain View having 30 to 40 window units, when you start pricing, they add up. And if we can extend the life of those things because we're cleaning the equipment and it provides a better space for our teachers that's great, right? And our students. But
And I really appreciate the fantastic updates you've been giving us, helping us be more aware of what's going on, and what's needed. Very organized.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we've got up is the high school athletic fields, 27 years later. I think we've got
Yep.
coming up for that. Um,
Evening. And I'm Dr. Wanzig, Mindy Wanzig. I wear multiple hats and, tonight, Booster Club. Let's see, we moved here 22 years ago, Mount Jefferson County Medicine, and one of the reasons we chose to move here is the school system. And I still believe it's a great school system, and schools are stronger when they have really good academics and extracurriculars, and including athletics, but also theater, band, music, everything. So I wanted to just share a concern. We've done a lot of things since we've been in Booster Club since Becca was a freshman, 2018-19. And together we've done a lot of things. I mean, Dr. Cox helped get the grant with Mr. Hampton for the football track complex, and the Booster Club raised the $77,000 left to fund that. So I think there's opportunities to continue, improving the complex, and I wanted to share and get on the agenda so that as you look in the future for budget needs, and if we can look for grants and things to improve what we have in the facilities. If you've ever walked back there or had a child back in softball or baseball, you probably wouldn't experience what we have. And we have a few softball players here tonight who might want to share some of their experiences but about things. And it's really interesting. There's a couple issues, and I know I sent pictures and you got to see some of the things. I mean, you guys want to share before? I know you have. Okay, let me have them come. Let they can share their experiences. I know they have to leave here shortly.
All right, well, I kind of wanted to speak on behalf of like the alums, softball alum. I haven't been here for about 4 years now. It's kind of crazy. But just look at my point of view, not as her daughter, but as a former softball player. I know playing on those fields, it was a little embarrassing. Like compared to the other schools, I'm just being real with y'all. And I know it's not y'all's issue. It's just one of those things, right, that we can improve in the future. But we've done a lot of things. Coach Justin Woods has made great improvements on the field, but I think from y'all's perspective, a county's perspective, there's still more to do, right? Still more advancements to make everywhere, but two actually issues that I see is no locker rooms or bathrooms. And as a player, coming from the, indoor locker rooms to the outdoor after school was a hassle, right? We had to carry our stuffs with us throughout classes, and then lug it with us and walk to the softball field instead of just having somewhere to go right after school. And then bathroom situations, I know me personally, during practice, that was a problem for me. I would either have to miss 30 minutes of practice because I either got to walk or drive my car, if I was licensed at the time, up to the bathrooms. And then that's also a problem for fans, right? And then my second issue was I have a grandfather that lives with me. I know last year he got to, or I guess this past season, he got to experience my sister playing in season, but he really didn't get that full experience because he had to watch from the car. He couldn't make it to the bathroom from the stands. He also couldn't make it to the stands, let alone to the bathroom. So that is an issue, not just for me, but for all of our grandparents as players. That definitely needs to be fixed more so than the locker rooms and bathrooms. So that's just my point of view, but I'll kind of let them speak on what they thought, but.
More on mainly the field, our first base side, I've had
girls from other teams come to me after games saying that they have tripped and fell on our first base side because it goes down kind of like a ditch. We had a girl get hurt. She hurt her hip during a game, trying to get a ball. Our backstop also goes down. So by the time we're back there, you can barely see the plate. It dips down a lot and trips. The grass is bumpy, so we have rolled ankles all the time. Just little things that can be fixed here and there, not all at once, just here and there, but I think Abby has more to share.
Hi, I'm Abby Wanzik. I'm a senior at the high school. I've been playing softball at the high school for 3 years now. And some of the problems that I've experienced, I'm a pitcher and we don't have a designated spot to warm up. So my dad and Justin would work really hard on our field before games to get the field looking nice. And I have to ruin it pretty much to warm up beside like where the coaches stand in foul territory. The pitching section that we have in the outfield is pretty much just weeds and teared up fencing and a bunch of stuff that I can't even walk on pretty much. We don't have anywhere to hit before practice. We have the dome, but it is a very large hassle to get up there. You have to walk through the gravel and there's a bunch of just like pretty much a dump site for the school. So it's kind of embarrassing for us because schools will come to play us and they'll be like, where do we hit at? We're like, the dump yard pretty much. But that definitely needs to be brought to the attention. And like Becca was talking about with the lockers, not having locker rooms, underclassmen tend to change in their uniforms, practice clothes in a shed that we have, where our scoreboard thing is set up at. And it's literally like maybe this big, and we can only fit like 2 girls in there. We have to change in there, or you have to change in your cars. Obviously, some students don't have cars, underclassmen don't have license, like all of that stuff. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you.
Yeah. So there's some, issues, obviously safety. What Riley was talking about is actually, I think, that third baseline as on the visitor side, you walk around the field, it's uneven. There's not very, you can maybe 2 people can go at once or else you're falling down a hill. And so when you get around the home plate, there's a little narrow spot for some visitor parents who want to sit. But you can't go around the visitors' dugout because it's a hill. And as some of my pictures, show that there's erosion there. And I know they worked really hard trying to fill that all the time. But the weather doesn't help here in Ashe County, does it? So, and there's about a foot drop off. So as you're trying to field a ball, you're trying to field a foul ball, somebody's gonna roll an ankle. Somebody's gonna break an ankle. Somebody's gonna run into the fence that's halfway leaning towards the hill. So that's an issue. Safety is an issue. Then there's the accessibility for our community to come even watch. The first pictures show the parking. Obviously the bus garage is right there, and the roads are gonna come in front of the bus garage and take some of the hill out of baseball, which is where our baseball parents sit and park their cars to watch. And there's buses there. Even during the school year, there's buses there. You can see in the pictures. So the fans, the visitors, and everybody kind of goes around the building, that narrow little across the little creek that we can't do anything about. And then you park there, for softball. And then there's the hill that doesn't get, sometimes there's buses up there, most of the time, as you see in my pictures. So there's not enough room, especially if there's JV baseball, JV softball, plus the varsity. And, where we can't, really get access there. And so, yes, the bathrooms are ADA compliant, right? There's a handicap stall in there, will be, right? But you know, you really can't safely get to the bathroom without having to go over speed bumps or up a hill or over uneven ground. So even though they're a little bit further distance, even though they are technically ADA compliant and we're grandfathered in, yeah, I still would question whether or not that's considered handicap accessible, you know? And when you have, you know, people who, 2 girls in softball and the grandparents can't come to the game. We haven't said a whole lot over the last 8 years, 10 years, because we've been working on other projects. We've been supporting as a booster club, the football, track, soccer, and as you see on my list, I included everything that we've done for each of the sports. We haven't done a whole lot for baseball and softball. And the reason being is because we didn't know where the middle school was gonna be. We didn't know how that was gonna affect us. And there's so many complex issues, the drainage on the field, it's swampy, it's uneven. I think the baseball team has to bring in tons and tons of dirt to refill the rock bed for the pitcher's mound. I mean, it's, you know, and then if you think about the indoor practice field, the dome, if you have driven up there, I do encourage you to do that. I know they paved it, they're gonna have turf, but Ashe County, you think about our last winter. Basketball ended Monday. We had softball game on Wednesday. So we have to share between all the spring sports that dome because basketball still has the indoor gyms. So at some point we need to do something so we can be somewhat competitive. And so we don't have to go, you know, we can't even really hold a conference tournament here for our conference, even if it's our turn, because we don't have the space. So we're losing out on that money, right? And, you know, the problem I think with trying to come up with solutions for this is it's a multi-step process and you can't fix the fence without fixing the field. You can't fix the field without fixing. So we know it's going to be a big project, but we wanted to say, okay, it's time to get us on the radar because I don't think people think about us over there. And I know the ADs in the past have done a really good job of trying to do this, but I think, you know, between the community, the commissioners, you all, right? If you look at the surrounding communities, look at Watauga, look at other Wilkes, they have lovely backstops and look at their donors. Guess what? Some of those donors, Blue Ridge Electric, Illinois, Skyline, you know, what we asked? And we said, hey, let's do this together for our students. And I mean, I think you'd have a lot of people help you with this project. But I do think we need to make some improvements, especially that little gray shed. If you see that picture, what Abby was talking about, you know, it has a window. So obviously the scorekeeper can look. How can we be fixed? The coaches are out there lining the fields. The girls are changing in that room with a window. I don't know. I don't think that's really appropriate. And I believe that was placed after Becca's sophomore year, maybe, so it wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And I think in the beginning, if I remember right, there wasn't even bathrooms. So so at least that's an improvement. We've made progress. But I just wanted to show pictures of how important it is and that it is a complex issue. And I realize that this is not going to be fixed tomorrow, but I think it's time to do something about it. So thank you.
No, I agree with everything Mindy said, and we've tried to approach the county commissioners and the board in 2025 about a turf football or baseball and softball field. And with that would have taken care of a lot of these drainage problems. It would have taken care of all the fence issues. We were denied that. We also asked for lighting in 25 and in 26. I know a lot of people think that Mindy is out to get me, but we're on the same team. And a lot of the things that that she had on her list of things that she's accomplished as a Booster Club member, I've been a part of that too. And I think that we've worked well together. And it is time that we do some things for baseball and softball. We knew that was going to happen as soon as we got the track and the stadium project completed. And that's why as soon as we got it completed, I asked for the money for baseball and softball. The restroom facility, yes, it's there. It is a ways from things. The reason it was put there at the time it was built, it was between soccer, baseball, and softball. And that was the easiest place to tie into water and sewage. And that's coming straight from the man who got it done, and that was Coach Payne. I have explored a building when Jerry Baker was the director of maintenance. At that time, the cost to cross the creek and to tap into water and sewage, we would have had to go all the way to basically tap into the road leading down to the field house at the stadium and tear up the existing bus parking lot. Or we would have to pump it back up to the bus garage and across the creek. And neither one of those were really a viable option. Now, hopefully that the middle school is being built next to the softball field, that could be a possibility of tying in to their water and sewer system. The issue is still going to be, how do we make it safe for our fans to get from those fields down across the creek if you're going from baseball to that area, and down off the bank from softball. So there's going to have to be a lot of work done there to make it safe. The restroom issue has been an issue for a long time. I think having locker rooms there is more important than restrooms. I know for years that our softball team would store their equipment in our equipment room down in the PE hall. They would take it and get changed in the girls' dressing room, and then they would walk to practice together. That's changed. It's been a little bit more difficult now because we don't have a coach in our building. The head coach is not in our building. And when that was happening, Coach Key was in our building, and he made that happen. I agree. There's definitely needs there. I think that we've done some good things with a lot of our facilities in the past few years. I think we've upgraded things in the gym with new scoreboards and new lighting, new scores tables. We've got new scoreboards at baseball and softball. Of course, the track and the stadium project, everything looks great there. And it is time that we do some things for our baseball and softball folks.
So Brian has run some numbers just to give you a perspective on, and this is, this is not all inclusive, it wasn't bid out or anything like that, but just some quick numbers that we were thinking and to do.
Yeah, this is talking to some folks that I knew could give me a ballpark figure. It's very ballpark figure.
And so we're talking about $5 billion or more. I think that's really conservative of a number based on timelines to get things architecturally designed like we have to do for schools and the process out. It'll probably be closer to 7 million is my guesstimate. But on here are just some preliminary numbers. And you can see that synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields would help. And you could even reposition them perhaps when we do those so that you get the best lighting for playtime during that time of year. But that alone is $2 million, and that's not necessarily addressing a different drainage that might be needed in order to preserve those fields.
That could be extra cost if we have to do a special drainage. And I'll go and tell you, the softball field will need special drainage.
Just like the football.
The reason that the first base dugout in that area is such a steep drop is there's a pipe that goes right down through center field that catches all the water coming off the mountain in the catch basin. That's where she was talking about the area for the pitchers to pitch. And the reason it doesn't get mowed and weeded is because a lot of times the water coming off the mountain, it just pools in there. And the drainage goes straight towards second base. If you're facing home plate, it hangs to the left and it comes out right behind first base and off the mountain. So, I didn't know that until about 3 years ago. And when I finally figured that out, talking to Tim Walton, who knows where every pipe's at over there. But there are some major issues there. And it will take a big effort to fix those things.
So some of the other things that we do have upcoming that will prevent some of this from taking place right away. Allison brought to you at the very beginning that the middle school, we have a road project that we are working through. And, within 2 years, all of it will be done. But the road has to be done before you can do the utilities, because if not, you'll be digging them up over again. So that is one thing that is a barrier to some of this immediately happening from a softball, especially softball perspective. The good thing about the middle school is they have their own baseball, softball fields, which are essentially the same size as the others. So when you're talking about tournaments and other possibilities, here in 2 years, we will have some new softball, baseball fields in addition to a regular high school sized gym and an auxiliary gym and a wrestling room. So maybe not having so many competitive places and teams at the same time. There may be some scheduling benefit that our athletic directors at the high school and the middle school can work together to accomplish. But again, it's not immediate. So there are definitely opportunities, indoor athletic support with locker rooms and restrooms and concessions, as far as a building outside that serves softball, baseball. On here, it's conservatively $1.2 million, but that was probably a 5-year-old guesstimate, and that would not even have probably restroom facilities. My guess is that's closer to 3.5.
And that's excluding the laundry facility, which they would need. And we have a laundry facility now that we use in the basement of our gym, and that's where we wash all the basketball uniforms. Baseball uses it some, softball uses it some, but if they had their own locker room space on laundry area, that's something that they would need. That would be an extra expense. I think the other extra expense that we're really not thinking about is the surrounding area and how to safely get to it. And a lot of that would depend on how the grading would have to happen for new fields to address those issues. And then how do we get our spectators safely to those restrooms?
So another thing that was mentioned, and actually Alice and I, prior to you mentioning that, about a week ago, talked about where the road is, and there's going to be parking area too, and might be able to describe it. There should be additional parking that will help, especially from a softball standpoint, once this road is in and complete. Am I saying that right, Allison?
Yeah, so there's parking at the middle that serves the middle school, which will be
On this side of the middle school versus the other
for the batting cages, new lighting. The one thing that will be held up a little bit right now would be the heat. And that is due to the road and the gas lines to get the heat there. That's the one thing that we're holding up on, but we're trying to make progress on getting the dome as updated as we can before spring sports start next spring.
Well, you mentioned Skyline, Blue Ridge, and Benoist. Has anybody ever reached out to
I
them?
reach out to them every year asking for money for our athletic department. I received $500 total from the three of them last year.
Do you think it might be different if we have a specific project in mind, like let's get the building?
Quite possibly, yes. Yes, I
That
think
might be-
that was one thing that when we did the turf project and we reached out for donations, that those folks did stepped up and made a sizable donation to the big project. I think if they can say their money went to that, it's more enticing to them instead of just giving it to the athletic department to use as general funding.
My daughter played on that field from 2000 to 2004, and I had two daughters that played one year. But what part that concerns me the most is the safety issue of all that water. We've got to address that water. It seems to be causing a lot of the unevenness, a lot of the erosion.
Exactly.
So if we can get the water under control and have some way of, and that's a lot of water coming off that mountain, if there was some way we can, and I don't know, I'm not an engineer by any means. I don't even know where you would start on that, except it's going to cost this stuff. We start with the money, but I'd like to see us start on that building right away if we can, and maybe do a fundraiser in conjunction with the Booster Club or the high school or whomever to find the money to get that building at least so they can be somewhat competitive.
That would
this
be
winter.
wonderful. The issue there would be we'd have the grading and the amount of grading we would have to do, and where would we tie into water and sewer? And that's where we would need to try to explore. I don't know how it would be to tie in with the new middle school. But I know the last time that was really the holdup in really moving forward with asking for money for the project was when Jerry Baker and I met with folks from the town. They thought that expense plus we didn't own the property adjacent to us. We had to stay so far away from that, and our building would have been a lot smaller. Now we can go right up to that fence and it can be large enough. But there's still the concern of the water and sewer tie-in, and then how are our folks safely going to get down there to that facility?
And so once we have some of that information for the road to the middle school and where that's going to be, then we can explore those costs. But of course, we'd have to get permission to hire an engineer to be able to do that.
And one thing in that the document that you received about, it talks about fencing and $115,000. That's basically just for a new backstop. The fencing could be it would be included in the turfing of the field, but our backstops are that way because of our wind. And to do a real backstop with the wind that we get, it would cost a lot of additional money to do that right. And I know the ladies talking about how it slopes down behind softball. It's forever back there behind home plate, and that needs to be shortened. And we've discussed that with coaches multiple times. And baseball infield, one thing that we really have to address there is if you dig 6 inches down in that infield, now you're in bedrock. And so that's why water sits there and goes nowhere. It has nowhere to go. So we do have a lot of drainage issues and a lot of things that we need to fix.
Is there any benefit to changing the orientation on the field?
I had major plans before I knew there was going to be a middle school put over there, but I didn't know how hard it would be to tile the creek and turn the fields around and put a facility in between the two with a press box looking out over both. But now with the road going in there, that would take away some of our space there to do that. But we have discussed changing the orientation of our fields a little bit to better utilize the space. We've even discussed maybe moving softball up to the old soccer field.
secure the funding so we can have an engineer / designer who can assess our needs at the site, including restroom facilities, press box, orienting the fields, turf versus natural fields, road, utilities, and do it as a complex. Because if not, we're going to piecemeal it together, and then we're not going to have the vision that I think it can be. I think that that's what we would need to tackle first, and that's probably a pretty expensive venture in order to have somebody to design that complex for us. And so to me, we'd have to, we don't have those funds, we'd have to go ask the county for those funds, or we'd have to get one of our partners that have done other field work for us that are used to that. You know, we have people in the community that can probably help us to get a ballpark figure. I don't like ballpark figures because they end up being it ends up being a lot more, but at least we know what kind of an ask. But I would rather have somebody design it versus us piecemealing it together. That way you can address those needs in chunks if necessary, and they can tell us whether drainage has to go in before a press box or whether we can do utilities before we do something else. And those are things that I wouldn't know, and you know, it's not in my wheelhouse. So that would be my first thing.
I would really like to hear, now that the state finally passed the budget, the differences, the opportunities, there might be some money there that we've not had access to before because they refused to release any of it. I'm crossing my fingers and saying a prayer as I say that, but if we could find some extra monies, it's going to take a lot of money, and it's going to take more than I think the commissioners are going to be able to help us with. We're going to have to come up with some funds some other places. I think if we can do some part of it, then maybe they can help us do another part of it. Maybe some of this lottery money that's still floating around, maybe we could help there. But I think we're going to have a lot of money to do this, but it needs to be done. So, you know, we need to start with that. If we can afford an engineer, can we afford an engineer to look at that? And
Well, the county we'd have to go to their county for a request, because that is not something that we have budgeted.
We didn't have any budget increase this year from the county anyway. We're held.
Well, and most of the facilities requests that we have, or anything that's by the state, for example, the public school building and renovation funds. The only reason why we were able to do flooring in the interior for the weight room is because that's offered as a class at the high school. Otherwise, those funds are not accessible to us, and they're certainly not accessible to any of the athletic fields outside. Those are considered county responsibility, I guess you could say. And our county's been good to us in a lot of ways. We just need to, I think that if we can get the investment in the vision, then we can take it to our community and, gosh, take it to lawmakers who might help us to see that or realize that vision, just like we did a couple of years ago for the fields that are and track that we have now.
You can't have a course called Softball 101.
It doesn't matter. It has to be universal. Yeah. Hey, listen, we have gym classes that happen outside. You still can't use those facility funds for them. Those have to be indoor.
Every night.
Well, Coach Evan, I want to give you kudos. You have brought a lot of this up to us in our budget meeting, so I don't want it to go on. Recall that you haven't brought, you know, you brought lighting to us. The turf has been on there for a long time, on there, and we've brought it forward to our county officials and things, and we understand they've got budget that they've got to work with too, and a lot of times we don't. We've tried the lighting several different ways on all the fields, and so we've been denied that every time, but we keep going back with it. They know it's there, and we can all continue to work together to get this done, and it'll take everybody to do that.
All we can do is try to address our needs and ask for.
You don't know till you ask.
And if we keep getting told no, they'll say yes one time and it'll be worth it. So we'll just keep at it, to keep trying to improve our facility.
It's not the lack of interest. It's not the lack of concern. It's the lack of money. We just don't have. A lot of things going on right now in our county, and especially with the new middle school. And I know that takes precedent. They need that building. But we also need to see it, so we're going to keep working
what we can do.
And I will say, if you go back 27 years ago to our three high schools, even with the issues we've got right now, Dustin can probably tell you, we were at Northwest Ash, the folks at Beaver Creek and, and Ash Central. What we have now is heads and tails more than what we had when we had three high schools. If you go back, I'm not denying any of the issues there. I'm saying, and there's still work to be done, but we've came a long way since that, but it's been 27 years, Yeah.
On the football field, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I remember in band trying to march through a cow path that went across the 50-yard line that was rutted about that deep. You could twist an ankle on that, on there, but.
So Josh, one of the things that we might be able to do, meeting on the 17th. And we have other budget things, I don't know if that's enough time for us to look at potentially investing, going with the ask to invest in a vision for it and maybe secure an architect, then we can see how much that might cost us and actually look into that as a big picture versus piecing it together.
Well, would it be worth it, let me just throw this out there, I haven't said this, would it be worth it to have an ad hoc committee of the board to kind of work on that, to come back to the board, to present options that would be? I mean, we do it with the
Have you ever
calendar,
done
we
it
do it,
before?
we've done it with a calendar.
We've tried that before, haven't we?
Well, no, it was limited, that was very limited. I know, the Wanziks were also, in on a lot of those meetings as well. But certainly, I think if we had somebody working on it for us, because we have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that need to be done, but really we need to know what's possible. And I think by securing somebody who can say, this is our complex, this is what we'd like to do, and give us that scope of work, I think an engineer might be able to put some more vision into it for us so that we can tackle it. Even if we can only piecemeal it together, we at least know what we're dealing with and then what has to be done first.
You'd rather do that than put a committee together, like what he was saying?
We can put a committee together, but I don't think any of us have, unless there's an engineer willing to give their services. I think we know what needs to be done. I mean, we both have lists from the Wanziks, from the athletic boosters club, from what we have for athletics. I think we know what some of those things are. The problem is you need somebody who can design it for you and tell you all those things that we can't see.
They're a parent maybe that would donate their time, right?
Well,
The engineer. Just saying it.
That is potentially
Put it out there,
possible,
don't
but we
need to.
still have to go through, the bid process and
Yeah.
through, we still have to go through our dot our i's
Right.
and i's and cross our t's.
Right,
Yeah.
but it saves money.
But it does take money. That doesn't mean somebody can't donate that to us, but they have to be certified and then you have to go through the school process through DPI and all that kind of stuff, so.
Anything else you had?
I'm good.
Anything else? Any other questions, comments? Thank y'all so much.
Can I talk to you, sir?
He's the baseball coach, sorry.
Oh, baseball coach. Okay.
Sorry.
I know, my name's Jeremy Hill.
They hit you the whole time back there.
Yeah. And I know everybody does what they can. This is it's a big project, nobody's denying that. But as someone who's been there on those fields, that has to work those fields, basically volunteering my time to do so, it's a lot. And you talk about cost. The cost is only going to go up over time. And something eventually is going to have to be done. You talk about the safety of what concerns me is the girls having to change where they're changing at. Okay, you got boys that's just right on the other fence, and we all know, we've all been teenagers, right? But that's a big safety issue that concerns me, is those girls. I have boys talk about bathrooms. Okay, if you're in the middle of a game and you come off the field, the guy has to go to the bathroom. We've been peeing in a bottle right beside our dugout because they don't have the time to go to the bathroom. You talk about working on the field. We had to cancel multiple games because our infield's trash for the first month of the season. Maintenance can't even mow it.
I have personally, and I don't care to do it because I love the kids. It's all about the kids anyways. I had a push mower. Okay, because they can't get a mower on there when they're riding mowers on it's going to mar up. The tracks during the game, after you played 2 or 3 home games in March, you know, from the field and trying to practice, you're talking about, you know, not just the games, but we're having to practice every day on that grass infield. And it gets tore up then, you know. We had the luxury, thank goodness, that y'all turfed football field, because up until baseball starts, we could actually have somewhere to go throw and take some doing fielding and stuff like that. But once, what is it, track comes in, or winter track, whatever, and soccer starts, you know, that's theirs. And we have to go back to our swamp, I guess you would say. You know, I hate to say that. I love our field, you know, I love it, the surroundings and everything about it. And all we want to do is improve it. And it's, you talk about, we go to different schools and see what they have. We don't want to be those schools, but when we see they have the luxury and how it benefits their student athletes and stuff, why can't we want that for our own, you know, and for the future to come? We're getting we got a brand new middle school. I don't know how many hundreds of $1 million, $100 million or whatever, you know, this is pennies, you know, compared to what's going into that middle school. And yes, it'd probably be a domino effect. You upgrade baseball, softball, then tennis may come in and won't be standalone things. But hey, you're exactly right. They need it too. They all need it. It's something that I don't want swept under the rug. Not to say that you will, because I know each and every one of y'all and everybody that's here, it's important to them too. Okay, but I do know there's more important things than those things. But it is something that we need to address and we need to stick with it. Okay. That's all I asked. Other than that, I don't got nothing else. I'm just, you know, I appreciate the time. I appreciate everybody in the Wanzix, you know, bringing this in. We talked about for a long time in Hampton. We've talked about a long time, and you know, talk is done. We need to act, and that's what the commissioners need to act. You know, Wanzix talked about coming in here to this. One of the main attractions was the school that they wanted to come here. We look at what's happening in West Jefferson all around the county. There's a lot of people moving in here. Okay, they're moving in here for whatever reason. I don't blame them a bit. You know, I've lived here all my life. You know, I love it. But to have these nice facilities that's beneficial, not because we just want it just to be looking good. They're beneficial to the student athletes, to the families, to the, talk about the people that come and watch the ball games. You know, I had parents that had to drive to the bathroom, or grandparents, and then that's as far as they could go. They didn't have time to come all the way back down there and finish watching the game, watching their grandson play, you know, because it wasn't worth it to them. Or I won't say it wasn't worth it. It was worth it to them, but they have to drive up there and then come back down and walk up a hill when you're 80-year-old. Not saying that's old. When you have health issues and you're on a walker, you can't walk up those steps, you know. It's rough to have to go a half a mile to the bathroom, you know. It's just the little things that not a lot of people see that goes on. You talk about the fencing, you know, that's a safety issue. Our fence in the outfield is turned up. I mean, there's holes this far up and under. I think it was last year I was watching the softball, and this is with them too. A girl slid and got hung in their fence. You know, it's a safety issue. They had to stop the game and come and get her out of the, you know, didn't know, they thought they had broke her leg, didn't know what happened while she was laying there, but she's hung in the fence because the fences are so shoddy. And, you know, it's just something that we care about our student athletes, our kids, our future. You know, we want the best for them. We want what's going to benefit them. Each and every one of us is playing sports probably, or being a student and wanted stuff and felt good when they're in a certain situation, you know. And if this, I'm gonna ramble, sorry, but I want it for the kids, you know, not for me. And the parents don't want it for themselves. They want it for the kids in the future. And it's something that needs to be done. That's all I got.
Thank you for coaching, by the way. That's not, that's
So I mean,
a thankless job for all the coaches.
it is, and you know, it's for the kids. It's not for me. I might not be the best at it, but I care about the kids. You know, I had a son that graduated this year and everybody's like, oh, I guess you're done coaching. No, you know, I wanna coach those other kids. I wanna be a part of their success, not as just as an athlete, but as a person that maybe somehow that I can change their mindset on which path they may take down the road one day. You know, so it's all, like I said, it's all about the kids and they deserve these upgrades, not the teachers. It's not the teachers, the coaches or anything. It's the kids that deserve these upgrades that benefit them.
Thank you so much.
If I may, Mr. Wanzik was sitting back there and I think he was just really bursting to say something at one point. I don't know if he got over that or
I
not.
think you liked the extension cord.
Yeah, something, but do you have anything you need to add, Kevin?
Look, I appreciate everything you guys have done. I mean, the changes you made at the football, track, basketball with the things that everything, it's incredible. It is one of the reasons why Mindy and I came here 21 years, 22 years ago. Gosh. Just goes by. And I have complete faith in all of you that you're going to put everything you have into doing something for the ball fields. May not be the thing that we want, you know, like the dream. You know, I say that because I've talked to Coach Hampton. And I've said, I would really love turf up there. Not because I like playing on turf. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd rather have a dirt field as a coach watching it. But because of the playability, kind of what Jeremy was saying there in March, it's hard because our field gets wet. They freeze. They thaw all day. I didn't say dry, I said thaw. They freeze again at night. They thaw all day. And it's not necessarily the infield, it can be the outfield. And you were asking things you could do. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Get somebody in here to look at the whole situation and say, let's put this together so you can still do a piecemeal. Back to what Ms. Calhoun was saying here, maybe we can piecemeal it, but understand how we're going to piecemeal it, not just, hey, let's go fix the drainage first and then find out we just spent $500,000 on drainage. We got to rip half of it up to redo something. I totally agree with that. I'm also kind of curious, Allison has left, the road that's going in there. I know they got to do drainage for that. That may or may not help our softball. That's yet to be seen.
And we won't know that
Yeah.
until some of that is completely finished.
Until it's done.
And then we'll know what we have, better what we have to address. And I think that'll be in shorter time than we think, but we're still waiting on.
It's supposed to be done in 27.
28.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wishful thinking. But
Yeah.
yes.
I'm just trying to I'm trying to light a fire under you like,
Yeah.
You might get Allison mad at you for rushing her up a little too much.
no, it's kind of funny though, on the way in, we were talking, Jeremy and I were talking about that road. He's like, when's that road gonna be done? I was like, it's my understanding that road was supposed to be a lot farther along than it was. And immediately we got the answer for that, hey, we can't continue until we figure that out. But like people were saying, some of the things, and Coach Hampton really hit on it. I can tell you that new dugouts would be cool. If you stayed with the same field, again, back to that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I will say the field needs to be redone as soon as it can be. Whether that's, but it needs new drainage, like going back through, redraining it, putting some fill dirt on the third base side, or first base side, and propping that area up. He's gonna bring the backstop in, which will open up some fan viewing area back there. Just like I said, I would really, really, really appreciate anything you can do for us. I know the dome, that's the big thing right now. We can maybe get into the dome. I can kind of speak for the booster club. I know there's probably a booster club out there that would be willing to help Coach Hampton out if he needs funds. We have a few dollars so we can throw that way, but to get that done and as quickly as we can, that would be a great, I mean, it'd be a nice Band-Aid, but a Band-Aid to the indoor facility thing, because again, when we get to the spring, Mindy was kind of pointing out that last year we were in a drought last year. It was awesome. Because we could get out and practice, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Not that the drought is good, but if we have a wet spring, you got track trying to get outside, because we're not allowed to use the gyms. I say that because
They do.
we're just switching tops off, but it doesn't, and I don't want them to stop doing it because it's the only convenient thing. But at
Well,
times where
they
I'm
can
sitting
change-
down
they
there
can
and I
change in the
turn,
girls' locker room.
yeah, I don't
They
want to
can't.
turn around and have that one moment one day where I'm like, okay, now I'm staring eye to eye with you and you're changing in there, and it's not something I was doing.
Well, we can stop that right away, because really they should be changing inside in the girls' locker room.
That's a
You know,
long.
well, but well, they have to walk there anyway at some point in time, or get in their cars and
Yeah.
go, so they can stay in the building, change, and then walk up there. To me, that's the best solution. That way you don't.
I mean, I get what you're saying too.
That doesn't-
because-
Then it doesn't take anything away from them, because they have to make it to the field anyway. So to me, that's an immediate. They change at the school in the girls' locker room, and then they go to their car and walk up. That's not an inconvenience, because they'd have to be, they're in the building to start
Yeah,
after school. So to me, that's easy. But scheduling, we can schedule differently for whether they need inside in the gym. We've got a gym and an auxiliary gym that we can.
Schedule last year.
yeah, we, again, you can,
We can do so that, you know, you don't have to right away. It would be nice if we had that facility that's just exclusively for baseball, softball that you can schedule. But we can work out a schedule so they're indoor, they can get that practice time in and not worry about it. So I'm not worried about that per se, because we have a solution we can put in place
I will
so
say,
that they have an indoor facility. I don't want the girls to be out there without that or.
I will
boys.
say this as a coach, and I know Jeremy's gonna back me on this and just about every. Trying to practice softball and baseball in a gym is not. It's not a great idea.
Oh, I don't disagree with you, but if it's between that and being
Between that
outside
and not
when it's
practicing
20
is what you
degrees
do.
or not
What I'm-
practicing.
That's what I'm saying, if we can get that dome. Again, I understand money rules the world. I keep hoping I hit the Powerball and I can make a lot of your problems go away too. So it hasn't happened yet, unfortunately.
I'll try.
Yeah, so, but that would be, back to what can we do right now, that would be the biggest thing. To get that dome up and running so that it could be efficient in what we need to do. And like I said, I understand that's not gonna happen tomorrow. But I will say, for those that think that practicing in a gym is good, you have to practice with softy balls.
Oh, yeah, the
And-
little orange ball or yellow balls, yeah.
Well, yeah, but they bounce and then it's not softball. We did it at the middle school and it was just not softball. So, you know, that's my 2 cents. Like I said, I appreciate what you say about the girls not changing it. Like I said,
Yeah, to me, that's an easy.
and I'm good with that,
fix.
truthfully, is.
Cause that would make me as a mom feel better too.
It's one of those things that's been going on that I'm kind of like,
Yeah, that's an easy.
when we have a problem with that, it's going to be a problem, not, you know, not a oops.
Well, again, that part's an easy fix until we actually get a proper place. For them to change that's closer to the field. But to me, they change before they even go to practice.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
and that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you all. Thank you. Got one more thing left. Early college, senior trip.
I just want to take my kids back to DC.
Alright, and so
Y'all are good with that?
so our field trip policy does not require, the board's approval any longer. But I wanted it on there and we're gonna bring to you the sixth grade trip, next month. And any others, that way you are aware of what's going on, and then if there are any costs associated that may be higher than what we planned, because we.
Fundraising.
But they're gonna fundraise
It's
about plans.
600, it's the whole trip. We did it great, we did it in between Wilkes graduation and the high school graduation, it was a great filler up there, they had a blast, so. We'd like to continue that.
Gotcha.
All for it.
Looks good. All right,
Can I make a motion that we adjourn?
you can. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, any quick discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll be back. We'll be back to the 17th.
17th.
That's 12.
New time.
That's 12.
And at the end.
All right, each
signature on company that's not.
You got two.
Black.
That's fine. I'm running into it.
Are you? Is,
Yeah.
Amanda told me to print this off for the spring at Blue Ridge. It's at the bottom line, I believe.
I know this isn't, I didn't just come up and ask